Hey everyone, Jim Chester coming to you live from Chirofest 2017 in Vancouver, Washington. I have the honor right now to be interviewing Dr. Tabor Smith about his program that he brought down here. It's called Spinal Hygiene. Tell us a little bit about the who, the what, and the why behind it.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim. Actually, my booth, I think you can see it from here. It's just right over there. So I was honored to be here, not only to have a booth, also to get to do the Lunch and Learn yesterday, which was really cool. And the concept of spinal hygiene is very similar to the concept of dental hygiene. Right now in our culture today, spinal degeneration is at epidemic proportions. We're starting to see, a lot of people used to think that osteoarthritis just was caused by old age. And certainly we see it once somebody gets in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. But now, because of sedentary lifestyles, because of posture, because of computers, cell phones, we're starting to see spinal degeneration at epidemic levels in 20-year-olds. And even there was a study released, 9% of 10-year-olds showed sign of disc disease already because of their lack of movement and motion. And so this epidemic, we've got to step up and do something about it. And if you look, just a short history lesson, if you look back in the early 1900s, the same types of statistics for tooth decay were just rampant, and dentists were pulling teeth. If you were a dentist back in the early 1900s, that's what you did. And so when they discovered the cause of tooth decay, bacteria, then there was Dr. Alfred Fones, father of dental hygiene. He was the one who really pushed for the dental hygiene movement that happened, and it wasn't welcomed. Like, a lot of dentists were like, you're gonna ruin our, the money we're making, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were making good money pulling teeth, so they were like, what are you doing, trying to teach people how to take care of your teeth? But thank goodness they did, and today most people actually keep their original teeth throughout life because of it. Now, if we don't do something as chiropractors and really face this major problem, this epidemic of spinal degeneration, eventually we're going to see, we're already seeing back surgeries at younger and younger ages, but we're going to see just crippled, health degenerate, because the spine, as we know, when it's affected, when there's irritation, pressure on a nerve, it affects every function of the body, not just your oral cavity. And so I feel like this is the next evolution of chiropractic. I feel like if we would all group together as one and unite in this quest to teach people lifetime spinal care is really what it is. We call it spinal hygiene, but it's lifetime spinal care. It's doing something on a daily basis to improve your health, visiting and making sure you have a chiropractor on your team that you're visiting regularly to remove subluxation. And that's the message that we try to teach. And we do that through products or through outreach. Dentists did a great job of getting out in their community, and they were doing, teaching in businesses. They were getting into schools and teaching kids. And we've been trying to get chiropractors to do those types of things as well.
So I know you're a chiropractor, you practice down in Houston area.
Yeah.
So what really sparked you to become a chiropractor?
Great question. I think that's probably what was my quest for spinal hygiene as well. Is I was a teenager and I started having shooting pains down my legs, and my family knew nothing of chiropractic. We were actually a very medically minded family, and I was on every medication you could think of. I mean, from starting with Tylenol and Advil and all those things to going to a doctor to get prescription strength pain pills, muscle relaxers, anti-inflammatories. It was absolutely miserable, and some nights I would wake up screaming because my back would lock down, I'd spasm, I couldn't move my legs by myself. At one point my parents would have to help me, and it was absolutely miserable. Emergency room visits, all of those types of things. And I remember I had an appointment to a surgeon, and they were going to talk about doing low back surgery, and a family member introduced us to a chiropractor. And I went, the chiropractor showed us x-rays, showed me an area in my lower back that had shifted. It was actually a spondy, so it shifted so far it caused a stress fracture in my lower back. That's how far out of alignment it was. And I remember just him telling us that there's hope, that we could do something for you, that, leaving his office with more actual hope that I was going to improve than I'd ever received before in the medical system. And I remember I started care. I went every other morning before school. And just like he told me, he said, it won't go away instantly, but I believe we can start making a huge difference. And it did. And 3 months later, I was what I would call 100%. I mean, I actually played basketball my junior and senior year of high school and then in college as well, which was something I never thought I'd be able to do. And I thought, not only did I love chiropractic at that point, but I thought I have to learn how to maintain this because I never want that to happen again. And so much so that I said, I got to go to chiropractic school, even just for me to learn how to take care of my spine and nervous system for the rest of my life. And then if I could help others with that that would be a huge blessing as well.
So now let's fast forward to 2017. Where's your practice? What's it doing? And how is your life thriving today since you've gotten under good principled chiropractic care and now you're taking care of your community?
Absolutely. Taking care of my community, my family. We have a fairly high volume office in Houston, Texas. We see 300 to 400 a week there. And then we have opened an office last year in Tabor as our second location. We see a couple hundred there. And then, my family, I have a 7-year-old, I have twin 3-year-old boys. They've been adjusted since minutes after birth. And they're going to grow up healthy and strong. In fact, I have a testament from my youngest, which is the twin that was born second, right, 8 minutes younger than his brother. And he was born with some pretty severe heart defects, right? He was born with transposition of the great vessels, and he eventually, when he was a year old, he had to have open heart surgery. And they always said he's going to be the littlest, he's going to be the kind of the runt, and you may have to make provisions for him and all these things. But he was constantly adjusted. And yes, there was a time where medicine had to step in and help him, right, when he absolutely needed that. But guess what? As soon as he had the surgery and his body was healing, we were removing interference from that nervous system so that it could heal at maximum. And the cool thing about it is he has he goes every 6 months to get a checkup in the medical doctor and check his heart. And the doctor says, look, we have a control group because he has a brother that doesn't have a heart defect. And the little guy, Jaden, that has the heart defect, he's bigger than his brother, weighs 3 pounds more, pushes him around. He's like the healthiest little kid you've ever met. And I honestly believe, and even all the other heart moms that are there that share, with my wife, Gina, they're just like, I can't believe how healthy your little guy is. And it's because, I'm not saying that you never need medicine to step in and do something when there's an emergency. But even after that emergency, it's innate intelligence that takes over and heals. Like that surgeon that did the open heart surgery, he could staple the sternum back together. He could put the stitches into the skin, but that's all he can do. Then it's innate intelligence that has to take over and mend that bone back together and heal that skin. And I want to make sure that my little guys are totally free of interference, or as much as possible, for their entire life. So that's what we do. That's what we do in Houston, Texas.
What an amazing story. Anybody of you that don't know who Dr. Tabor Smith is, just such a genuine, consummate professional with what he does for the profession, always serving people to the highest level that you can, just touching hearts, changing people's spines and changing people's minds.
That's right.
And that's what the spinal hygiene movement is all about. If people want to know more about Tabor Smith's program with the spinal hygiene, how do they get more information and how do they jump on board with you?
Awesome. I appreciate that. We can go to spinalhygienemovement.com. And you'll have an opportunity to join some of our live webinar trainings that we do. We teach chiropractors how to get out in the community, do lunch and learns, get into schools, teach kids about spinal hygiene. And then we also have some products that we use, home spinal care products. And I feel like, in chiropractic, we're so focused on correction, which is great. Like, we have to correct subluxation. But we forget about the daily upkeep that we should be teaching our patients about. And then dentistry does a great job of this because they do correction as well. If you need braces, if you have to get your cavities corrected, if you need a teeth cleaning, we all go to the dentist. But guess what? You're leaving with a home care kit. You're leaving with a toothbrush and floss and the education on what you need to be doing on a daily basis to take care of that. And I just feel like that is missing. It's a missing keystone for chiropractic right now, and it's just going to explode the profession when we get there.
Well, I'm really honored to know that this exists, and I'm really excited that every chiropractor should be getting on board and getting on to the spinal hygiene movement and getting these resources out to your patients so that, the best care is self-care.
That's right.
And, the chiropractor is going to check and adjust and remove vertebral subluxation, but you have to be also accountable for your own health. And, like I've discussed with many great doctors today, is there's a paradigm. There's a sick care system, and there's a health care system, and then there's chiropractic care. And chiropractic is a liaison to get people healthy for long-term maximum expression of their innate intelligence and their body's ability to heal from inside out and above down.
That's 100%. And if I will add to that point, so we last week, Harvey, or the week before last, Hurricane Harvey hit Texas pretty hard, right? So we got a group of chiropractors together. We put up tents, and we were taking care of the volunteers and the first responders and even the victors, not the victims, of the floods. And it was really cool. We had 6 tents set up. We had people coming from all around to come get adjusted. We adjusted over 300 people in that one location, over about 500 or 600 in all the locations we were at. But the coolest thing was, for me, was there was a medical tent that was set up that there was nobody in. They were giving out vaccines and stuff, but there was literally like one person would go over there like every hour, and we had like all these people in our tents getting adjusted. So what happened was the nurses and the medical doctors would come over to our tents, and they were standing by the side here, and of course I was kind of a little bit nervous about it at first, and then they were like, man, we love what you're doing here. We were like, and they were sitting there, and one of the nurses says, I can't believe you can help all these people. I wish we could help. You know, and they realized, I saw in the way they were thinking. Before, they thought that chiropractic was trying to do the exact same thing as them. And then when they saw that, we were able to help people where they weren't. And I could see that go off in their head, and they went, oh, chiropractic's different. We can't do that. So anyway, it was really, really cool for me to see that.
Yeah, and see, that's just it. Is chiropractic is a give, love, serve profession. And what I found is these chiropractors that are out here, just like you, are just serving at a high level, getting people's nervous systems clear, removing the interference, and allow people to live authentic life that they're meant to live without the pain and suffering that most people are just generally accustomed to. And people just think that it's a sore back, or it's just a headache, or it's just something. But really, they don't know. It is bigger. It's a bigger game out there. And when people are actually doing the right things with their health, they're providing for their families better.
Yes.
They have more harmony within their soul to do what they love to do.
Yes, the stakes are high. Yeah, it's not anything. First of all, let me thank Paul Reed for putting on this who's who. Oh, there he is right there. This event, guys, if you're not here, make sure that you're here next year, because it's absolutely awesome. The people that you get to hang out with, I mean, the things that you learn, but the people that you get to be around, second to none right here. And they all feel exactly like Jim. They all see the bigger picture, not just back pain, neck pain. They see that every time we give an adjustment, it makes a huge impact on families and cities and states and all this.
Well, Dr. Tabor, thank you for what you do, man. Thank you for being on the interview with me.
Yep.
Anybody that is interested in coming to a Rockstar event in the Pacific Northwest, don't miss Paul Reed's team's Chirofest out here in Vancouver, Washington at the Hilton. Anybody that didn't make it here in 2017, together we'll say, get here next year.
You better get here.
Get here next year, 2018. And with that being said, I'm going to sign off on this interview with Dr. Tabor Smith. But stay with me for the next couple hours. I'm going to be going live with some more heavy hitters in the chiropractic profession, talking about subluxation-based chiropractic and innate intelligence and turning the lights on and keeping them on.